Thanks for staying with Sunrise. The Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew in October 2021 launched its mentorship and skill development program for young men at the Matthew 2540 Boys Home. We welcome President Dwayne Cargill and Distinguished President Mark Russell of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew to share more. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise, gentlemen.
Morning, Asa. Morning, Angelique, and morning to your listeners.
Good morning. Thanks for coming to tell us about this amazing program. I want to start with, how did you choose the Matthew 2540 charity? Why is it that this is one of the areas of focus for Kiwanis of North St. Andrew?
All right, so thank you for that question. So each year when a new president begin the administration in October, we normally do a strategic plan or a development plan. And one of the requirements as Kiwanis is to look at your community and to look at the different issues that face the communities that you serve and select projects that will impact the community. Kiwanis, as you know, is a global organization that give focus to children seeking to change the world one child, one community at a time. In about 2 administrations prior to this, the father, Ram Kisoon, made a presentation to the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew at one of our guest speaker night. And he highlighted a number of challenges and issues that the mustard seed community face. And so as incoming president, I knew that I wanted to do a project with that community. In fact, there's one of our members who highlighted to us some challenges at one of the homes in the community, Matthew 25. And he really had expressed the issues or the lack of engagement of the boys. And so we decided to explore that opportunity. And when we had conversations with the administrators and we actually visited the homes, we were able to see some of the issues and the lack of a transitional arrangement for the boys. We know that these boys are in state care. In fact, they were born with HIV/AIDS. Most, if not all of them, currently are orphans without parents or without family members. And so the need to engage and to provide a system through which these boys can be mentored and transition into becoming positive and citizens that can make an impact on the community and that can really live independently after the home. Because one of the things we don't want is that they will be living in the homes forever, because they are not sick in the sense that they cannot go out and become productive citizens and live independently. And so that's one of the reasons why we selected that project to work with these young men. And of course, Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrews are all male clubs. So we thought that with the skill sets within the club, we would be able to make an impact on.
Yeah, Mr. Cargill, you have taken on a very, 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 I want to say, emotional, heavy project. I really want to ask Mr. Russell in terms of the ambition of this project, because it's loaded with a class of citizens, young males who, not by choice, but were born with HIV, living in state care. To be honest with you, I know a majority of Jamaicans probably never knew this was happening. And so it highlights a particular thing. But I want to ask you, Mr. Russell, what's the type of help that you need? What's the type of outreach in terms of government assistance in taking on such a heavy project?
Thanks for that, Isaac. Morning, Angelique. Morning, viewers and listeners. The help from corporate Jamaica, in particular, is the assistance that we would need, financial assistance with the construction of the transitional home, the refurbishing of the transitional home. From the average citizen in Jamaica, really supporting our fundraising projects, and we will have several that will come out clearly identified to be the proceeds going in aid of this project. Supporting those things are what we really ask of Jamaica. We also ask if people have a story to tell. Part of our intervention involves a lot of rap sessions, because before we can help them, we have to get into their minds. We have to show the young men that society hasn't abandoned them. People recognize them as human beings. And so we do a lot of close talking with them. And if someone has a story and they think they want to come and help that to motivate the boys, the young men, we would certainly welcome the contact, and we would invite them to come and speak on one of the days. Artisans who may be to offer apprenticeship, that too will be something that we'll be asking those who can to offer their facilities to help the young men. But that pretty much is it. In terms of the scope of the project, we approach it from the very first level up. The second object of Kiwan is to encourage a dear living of the golden rule in all human relationships. Mm-hmm. And as such, they do unto others as you would want. That's how I looked at it when I was framing the project profile. Everything we want to do with these young men is something that we would, as young men, want to experience in life, from society, from mentors, from prospective employers, and from employers. So we are trying to get the young men to that state.
Mr. Russell, if persons want to reach out, whether, as you say, it's an artisan or it is a corporate organization or just an individual who wants to add their time in voluntary service to this project, how can they become a part of it with you? How do they reach out to you?
I yield to the president to give you that information.
All right, Mr. Cargill, how can persons become a part of this effort with the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew?
Yes, they could. Persons can contact us on our social media pages, Kiwanis NSA. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Or they could make contact via cell number 775-8903. That's 876-775-8903.
All right, so now persons know how to reach out to you. Currently, in terms of the nature of the project, now Mr. Cargill would have mentioned things like, having artisans come in and, doing apprenticeship work with the young men, and, other various methods of intervention. What has the response been from the charity and from the young men so far? Is it something that they're looking forward to, or are they, disillusioned? What's the feedback like?
No, that's a very good question, Angelique, because when we just started, as you said, the disillusion, that probably was the case at the beginning, noting that a number of groups would have gone to this home, and generally, so they have that feeling of, so yes, it's just another group. But I'll tell you that since we've been there, the response has changed significantly to the point that we really felt good when one Saturday we went and they were asking if we're seeing you Monday, because we normally have the rap sessions on a Monday, like every two Mondays for the month. And then at one Saturday they were asking, are we seeing you on Monday? So at that point we knew that we were having an impact and there was some change in how they were engaging with us. So what we have done, we have tried a number of things. So it's not just, we've tried the engagement session. Just in December, we also had a Christmas function with them, where we had somewhat like of a Christmas party and gave them gifts. But also we had a talent show where they were performing, and some of them actually write their own songs, so they were performing their original songs.
Amazing. Now, Mr. Cargill, is this program something that will just be during your tenure, or is it that Matthew 2540 has officially been adopted by the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew? Because one of the issues with social intervention, is that it's too short. It doesn't have any longevity in order for impact to truly happen. So what is the position of your club? Is it for your tenure, or is it something that we can look forward to for a few terms to come so that we can see the true impact?
Right. So that's so one of the issues for our club, what we have done, there is, well, in Kiwanis generally, there is a process of progression. And so I have agreed to do this project, but we also have a president-elect who should become the president next year, and a first vice president will become the president the other year. And so I know the president-elect has committed to continuing the project as well as the first vice president.
Fantastic.
And so we expect that the project will continue at least for the next 2 years. But we really have a commitment to working with the home to continue, especially with the result that we're having.
I have one question, Mr. Russell. I don't know if you can answer, but the age, what's the age range for the boys? And because we're speaking about transition, and I don't want to say reintegration, I want to say integration, because the reality is that boys become men and they are living with what in the Jamaican space is stigma. There's still a lot of misinformation about HIV and the prospects of living a successful life, even with the reality of having it. So what is the age range and what's the expectation for these boys?
They are between 15 and 22. Initially, the state system would have been for them to transition into mainstream at 18. Yeah. But because of a number of reasons and the fact that attitude-wise, more than anything else, they weren't ready for that. So the 22, those above 18 are still there. Our expectation, and although Kiwanis would love to change one child, one community at a time, my expectation is that we're going to touch the 19 lives that are there in a positive way. We have been making impact significant, as the president said, with most of them. There are a few that are still putting a political resistance, but I'll say to you, Isaac, that I was 15, I was 16, I understand, and that's how I approach it. I know what it was like to be rebellious and defiant. I know what it was like to distrust someone who comes to you with a story that sounds too good. And so I take that into when I ask my presenters to share with them. Don't go there and pretty up anything. Don't soft soap it up. Go there with the reality. I don't know what it's like to live with HIV. So I too am learning now a resilience from them. And so the program is we learn from them, they learn from us, and that's what I'm trying to get to the minds of the young men, that we're not coming here to tell them anything. We're coming here to share, and for them to share, and for them to realize that if they see a part that can do better for them, we are there to support them with that.
Okay, I want to thank you gentlemen so much for sharing, highlighting this home, and we would reach out to all Jamaicans to support the Kiwanis Club and the current president, Mr. Dwayne Cargill, in his, what I call a mighty project. And thanks so much for sharing with us on Sunrise.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. The Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew, they are supporting the Matthew 2540 Boys Home.